Today, we're exploring a topic that might sound like it's straight out of a thriller novel, but I assure you, it's grounded in historical research and contemporary analysis. We're talking about The Rise of the Fourth Reich, the secret societies that threaten to take over America, by Jim Marrs. This book is a deep dive into the hidden forces that have been shaping our world for decades, and it raises some chilling questions about the direction our society is heading. Let's start with the end of the Third Reich. On April 30th, 1945, as Russian artillery pounded Berlin, Adolf Hitler and his new wife, Eva Braun, committed suicide in their underground bunker. Or did they? Marrs presents evidence suggesting that Hitler might have escaped, using a double to fake his death. This isn't just conspiracy theory, it's a hypothesis supported by testimonies and events that followed. For instance, Stalin himself reportedly told President Truman that Hitler had escaped. And the Russians, who initially claimed Hitler's body had been burned, later produced photos of a body that contradicted their earlier statements. Now, whether Hitler escaped or not, the real question is, did his ideology die with him? Marrs argues that it didn't. The Nazis, he says, didn't vanish. They simply scattered across the globe, many of them finding refuge in the United States. They brought with them not just their ideology, but also advanced technology and a massive amount of treasure, including the legendary Treasure of Solomon. Marrs draws a direct line from the Third Reich to what he calls the Fourth Reich, a new form of National Socialism that has taken root in America. He points to the influx of Nazi scientists and officials into the U.S. after World War II, facilitated by programs like Project Paperclip. These weren't just any scientists. They were individuals deeply involved in Nazi ideology, some of whom had committed war crimes. Yet they were welcomed into the American scientific community and given prominent positions. Take Wernher von Braun, for example. He was a Nazi Party member and an SS officer who became a pivotal figure in NASA and is often celebrated as the father of the U.S. space program. But Marrs reveals that von Braun's past was far from clean. He was accused of ordering the execution of slave laborers and was described as a potential security threat by military officials. Yet his record was whitewashed, and he was brought to the U.S. to work on rocket technology. Marrs also delves into the connections between American corporations and Nazi Germany. Companies like Standard Oil and IG Farben had deep ties that continued even during the war. These connections weren't just about business, they were about ideology. Marrs argues that the same financial powers that supported Hitler also played a role in the rise of communism, creating a controlled conflict that served their interests. One of the most intriguing aspects of Marrs' book is the discussion of the globalist agenda. He suggests that a small, powerful elite is working behind the scenes to create a new world order, a global fascist state where corporations and the state are merged, and individual freedoms are curtailed. This agenda, he argues, is being advanced through the infiltration of key institutions, from government agencies to educational systems, and the media. Speaking of education, Marrs highlights how the American education system has been shaped by Rockefeller money and influence. The Rockefeller Foundation and other entities have poured millions into shaping educational policies and institutions, promoting a worldview that aligns with their corporate interests. This isn't just about funding, it's about control. Marrs cites correspondence from Frederick T. Gates, Rockefeller's choice to head the General Education Board, who wrote about molding the minds of the youth to fit a specific ideal. Marrs also discusses the controversial No Child Left Behind Act, signed into law by President George W. Bush. He sees it as an attempt to standardize education and instill a uniformity of thought, reminiscent of the Nazi approach to education. The act's emphasis on standardized testing and its punitive measures for underperforming schools are seen as tools to control the narrative and shape the future workforce. But perhaps the most chilling part of Marrs' analysis is his discussion of the parallels between Nazi Germany and modern America. He points to the erosion of civil liberties, the rise of a surveillance state, and the use of fear to control the population. The Real ID Act, with its requirement for national identification cards, is seen as a step towards the kind of citizen registration system that was prevalent in Nazi Germany. Mars also warns about the potential for mind control and manipulation through advanced technology. He mentions the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, HAARP, suggesting that it could be used to influence human behavior. While HAARP is officially designed for studying the ionosphere, critics like Mars argue that it has the potential to be a powerful weapon, capable of disrupting communications and even affecting mental processes. In the realm of media, Mars highlights the concentration of ownership in the hands of a few multinational corporations. This control allows for the dissemination of a singular worldview, drowning out dissenting voices and promoting a narrative that serves the interests of the globalist elite. He argues that the media has become a tool for propaganda, shaping public opinion and controlling the flow of information. Mars' book is a wake-up call, urging readers to question the narratives presented to them and to look beyond the surface. He challenges us to consider the possibility that the forces that brought Hitler to power are still at work today, albeit in a different form. The question is, what can we do about it? Mars doesn't leave us without hope. He suggests that awareness is the first step towards change. By understanding the forces at play, we can begin to resist them. He calls for a return to the principles of individual freedom and a rejection of the fascist ideologies that threaten to undermine our democracy. As we conclude this episode, I encourage you to reflect on the themes Mars presents. Are we witnessing the rise of a new Reich, or is this just another conspiracy theory? The answer may lie in the choices we make and the actions we take. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep thinking for yourself.
This has been a BrightLearn video from BrightLearn.ai on the book The Rise of the Fourth Reich, The Secret Societies That Threaten to Take Over America by Jim Marrs. Visit BrightLearn.ai for more fascinating videos like this one, and visit naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage and breaking news on critical stories that keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.